Jaguar fans, I am not telling you anything new if I were to come out and say this Jacksonville Jaguars offense in 2021 was abysmal. And saying anything that they were anything but dysfunctional would just be a flat out lie. They struggled in almost every single facet of having an offensive game plan and scheme. They were minus 204 in point differential, dead last in overall points scored. They led the league in drops with 39 drops, courtesy of ESPN Stats and Info. And they were 28th in the league in red zone scoring. This team was abysmal in 2021 on the offensive side of the ball, which they shouldn't have been. They had the golden child, Trevor Lawrence. We should not have been seeing plays like this.
There today. 3rd and 14. Lawrence fires, intercepted!
And we most certainly have not been seeing plays like this.
3rd and goal, high snap. Lawrence pulled it down and throws to the end zone to Marvin Jones. Did he come down, feet in bounds? He did.
Have no fear. There's a new Cowboy in town. His name's Doug Peterson. He's bringing in a great staff. I'm very excited to see that staff in action. And they're going to have $60 million to work with in free agency, as well as having the number 1 pick in the draft and the first pick in every single round of this year's draft. They're going to have 1, 2, and then they're also going to have 2 3s. So I'm very excited to see where they go with their draft selections as well. But like I said, they're going to have $60 million to work with. There's a couple big key players I think that they're going to bring back. Damian Wilson for one. Jihad Ward, I think he's a very good rotational player. Tyler Shatley is a great filler for any of the 3 interior offensive line positions. And then Laquan Treadwell played very well towards the latter half of the year, and I'm very excited to see what he looks like in his second year with the Jaguars. But in my opinion, those picks are going to leave the Jaguars with about $49 million in cap space left to play with. But whenever we're talking about this offense, you have to start at the top. And the top is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence played very poorly throughout the middle of the year. Everyone remembers those stats of them saying Trevor Lawrence hasn't thrown a touchdown in 7 games, in 8 games, in 9 games. They were just abysmal throwing the ball and mainly getting it into the end zone. But one thing that really showed out to me was his poise and leadership whenever he was at the podium answering questions from the local media. He stayed calm and professional every single time he was asked a question revolving the urban drama, that every new scandal of the week that there was, whether it be the Cincinnati issue, whether it be James Robinson not getting the ball like he should, just all of the weird things that were going on with Urban Meyer. He stayed calm and professional throughout it. And I really think he finally did take that step we all wanted him to see in the last game of the year against Indianapolis. But unfortunately, due to those heavy drops his wide receivers had and some of the real struggles that he had, unfortunately finishes the year below 60% completion. He's going to need to get better. But I think upgrading the wide receiver position will help mightily. Now, to the running back room. James Robinson hopefully will be back. If you kind of look at Cam Akers, who had the exact same injury, torn Achilles, he was able to come back very, very quickly. Tore it in training camp, I believe, and he was back for the Super Bowl. James Robinson tore it late in the year. He should be back by training camp. And then Travis Etienne. The Jaguars medical staff and him agreed that he was ready to return to play, but they both agreed that it would be best if he just sits for the year. There was no coming back. They both agreed it was right for him to sit for the year and come back ready for 2022. Now, would anyone be upset if Carlos Hyde was no longer on this team? I don't think anyone would. I'm not going to lose any sleep if Carlos Hyde is no longer a Jacksonville Jaguar. Whether they decide to retain Dario Ngubawale or they look for a new running back from rounds 4 plus in the draft, I'd be okay with either of those options, with the running back room being led by James Robinson and Travis Etienne as the 2 running backs leading the charge there. Now we get to the fun stuff. This Jaguars wide receiving core. Man, they were terrible. They were abysmal, they were terrible, and there's not enough words to describe how bad they were some points in the year. This team has 2 major problems. They have a catching the ball problem, and they have a separation problem. In my opinion, Chris Godwin is the number 1 target they should have. I don't expect Devontae Adams to escape Green Bay without at least a franchise tag. And I'm not with the Jaguars giving up what they need to pry him away from being franchise tagged. I said they have a problem catching the ball. Godwin does not have that problem. 86 balls in 2019, 65 in 2020 in 12 games, and then 98 balls in 14 games in 2021. Now, one thing that Trent Baalke loves, as we all know, is a torn ACL player. That's going to be a little bit cheaper because of that. What is Chris Godwin going to be? He's a torn ACL player. That's going to be a little bit cheaper because of his injury. So I absolutely think that's very easy dots to connect. Chris Godwin, I'm hoping, and should be a Jacksonville Jaguar in 2022. I don't think they're going to franchise tag him again for the second time in Tampa Bay. He's going to hit the market, and I do think the Jags are going to be a player around that $22 million a year mark for a 3 to 4 year deal and offload a lot of that cap into future years. DJ Chark, in my opinion, is not going to be a Jaguar in 2022. I made a video about that previously, but I do think that you can absolutely upgrade in that quick, fast wide receiver position that's a downfield threat. Christian Kirk would be a great addition to this wide receiving room. He caught over 1,000 more yards than Chark. He's caught over 100 more passes, and he's caught more touchdowns. He would be a couple more $1 million because he doesn't have the injury concerns that Chark has. And he also is just a better player than Chark is. I think he's probably going to cost somewhere around the $14 million range, but I would love to see Christian Kirk. I think he'd be a great addition to this Jaguars wide receiving. I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to get Williams or London in the draft, but I do think they're going to be able to be a player for Treylon Burks or Jahan Dotson. I love Jahan Dotson. Burks would be great, but I am a huge Dotson fan. He has elite route running speed, in my opinion, and has super strong hands. He's caught 91 passes and 12 touchdowns in his senior year at Penn State. That's what the Jaguars have a problem with. They have a problem with catching the ball, and they have a problem with route running and separation. That is what Jahan Dotson does best. So I absolutely think if Jahan Dotson is there at 33, I am sprinting. I'm seeing if I can make the pick the night before. I'm seeing if, hey, can we just turn this in now? I don't want to wait. I don't want something to happen. I don't want him to do anything. I want him to be a Jaguar. The Jaguars have a lackluster tight end room, really. Dan Arnold is arguably the best receiving tight end this team has had since a very young Mercedes Lewis. He's very good run after the catch, but other than that, he doesn't offer a whole lot, and nothing else is offered behind him. Chris Manhertz's only claim to fame in Jacksonville is the fact that he caught Trevor's first ever touchdown. He offers very little in the passing game, but he's a quality blocker. He's a great sixth lineman. If you're looking at the draft and you think, Isaiah Likely, there's a possibility he's there at 65, I absolutely, once again, I'm sprinting up to the podium. Turn in that ticket. I don't think he will be there. I think he's going to really creep up into the early 40s. But hey, if Likely's there and he's able to become a Jaguar in the third round, I'm taking him all day long. I don't think they're going to really do a massive overhaul of this tight end room. I really think we're going to go into 2022 with Dan Arnold, Chris Manhertz, and probably Luke Farrell or just another tight end. I don't see them making a huge splash play at a tight end. I think they're really going to focus on offensive line and wide receivers, as both need massive overhauls. Now, like I said, the offensive line is going to need a massive overhaul. Andrew Norwell, Cam Robinson are both at the end of their contracts. Cam's coming off his franchise tag year in 2021. Andrew Norwell is just coming to the end of one of the biggest contracts the Jaguars should have never given out. Both have upside, but both also have very little that they offer the Jaguars on the top end. I think with the Jaguars having the number one pick and there being 3 potential offensive tackles in that kind of top 10 range, I think between Evan Neal, Ekwonu, and Cross, whoever you think is the best left tackle or tackle in general is who you take number one. I don't think you risk it. I don't think you trade. If you can trade back and stay in the top 10 and you still end up with one of the 3, if you have comparable grades for all 3, beautiful. But if not, you take who you think is the best left tackle, and they become your left tackle, they become your right tackle, but you're taking one of the tackles, in my opinion. The Jaguars are going to have a little bit of money to play with here. If they wanted to get Brandon Scherf to play left guard or they wanted him to play right guard, the money's there. They can probably make that splash signing and go get one of the best guards in free agency. But he has kind of the similar problem that Brandon Linder does. He is one of the best when he's healthy, but you're going to get him for 9 games a year. Now, Laken Tomlinson, he's from San Francisco. I think he would be an incredible value signing. He's 30. He's going to be 30 at the start of the year, and he's insanely good in pass protection. Pro Football Focus has him giving up pressure, on 3.8% of his pass protection snaps. That is insane. Now, I do think he would be an incredible day 2 signing. I don't think he's going to be the big splash signing that a lot of Jaguars are going to look for on the offensive line, but my only fear with him is that it may turn into a bidding war if he does escape San Francisco, because a lot of teams are going to be looking for quality guard play at a pretty low price, and I think Laken Tomlinson will be a very cheap offensive line addition, but a very good and quality offensive line addition. Like I said with Scherf, Brandon Linder, he's one of the best in the league when he's healthy. The only problem is you're only going to get him for about 9 games, but he's still got that 1 year left. Yes, you're paying him $10 million. It is what it is, but when he's healthy, he's there and he's good. And, we're bringing back Tyler Shatley, who played well in his absence. So I'm not really too concerned with the center position. Linder's there when he's healthy. Shatley's there to back him up whenever eventually he probably does get hurt. Ben Bartch played very, very well in A.J. Cann's absence, and I think he's going to fit perfectly right into that starting right guard spot. That's what he played for the majority of last year. And thank God, we hopefully we won't be seeing any more, single-digit PFF grades like we did with A.J. Cann. That was just abysmal, and I'm hoping we can never discuss that again. We can have good right guard play, and A.J. Cann will never be a Jaguar. But like I said, with the tackle position at number one, if you like Neal, who played a lot of right tackle before Alex Leatherwood left at Alabama, if you like him at right tackle, you can keep Little at left. I'm okay with that. And then, or if you like him at right, left, you can just play whatever one you're putting your number one pick at. Little plays the opposite, so I'm okay with that. Either one is a good replacement for Jawan Taylor. He struggled horribly. Thankfully, he had A.J. Cann to really overshadow him, but I don't think anyone can forget when Pete Carroll was just kind of playing the game of like, 75 jumped offside or false started again.
You gotta call that. It happened all throughout the first half. Also, he's jumping the cage.
I had him going right.
No, he's not. He's early. He's early. Did you think the tackle jumped there? Did you see that?
The right tackle, yeah. That's the second time.
Even Russ thought he did.
These offensive additions, in my opinion, are going to be leaving the Jaguars with about $35 million in cap space, and they'll have enough money to play with. They'll have a lot of money if they want to make a big splash free agent signing on the defense. They'll have they're like $12 million they need to resign or to sign their draft picks. And then obviously you're going to need filler positions. You're going to need to fill out your depth chart. So, your Will Richardsons, things like that. Those players are going to be re-signed or, signed for a couple $1 million here or there. But like I said, they're going to have the money if they really wanted to go after another older D lineman to complement Josh Allen. Because let's be honest, he played his best when the Jaguars had Calais Campbell. And they, when the younger guys have that older guy to really draw the attention to and really, take that double team so you get the one-on-one opportunities. That's when he was at his best. That's when Josh Allen was a Pro Bowler. And so I think, bringing in an Ndamukong Suh, Chandler Jones, who, that's been said that he grew up as a Jaguars fan. He said he loved to play in the whatever he said, like the cyan or something. No, Chandler, it's teal. Come on now. But, maybe the mayor himself, Calais Campbell. I would absolutely love to see Chandler Jones or Calais Campbell in the teal and black. That would be incredible. But they have the money to do it, and they also, they can play with it how they see fit. Maybe they want to get another corner, whoever. They have a lot of money that would still be left after making these great additions to the offense. I think they need a lot of help, but I think with these additions, they are sure to improve their offensive performance. And with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, I believe they're going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot with the options that I've given them. With, just the big ones of Jahan Dotson, Kirk, Godwin, and Laken Tomlinson, and then whoever they take at number one. And then if they decide to go tight end at 65, there's a lot of opportunity there. And it's going to be an offense. It's going to be a very offense heavy, a couple months in my opinion. And this off season, is going to be one for the ages. I'm very excited to see it. But thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and go Jaguars.
How about them Jags?